Très bien. Bon, salam alaikum, مرحبا بكم. Giza Gig Hangout, اليوم مع حسام إن شاء الله. Le sujet c'est Progressive Web Applications.
Ouais.
Sujet très intéressant parce que je sais على واش يهضر vraiment intéressant et راح نتعلموا إن شاء الله حاجات جدد اليوم. السلام عليكم مرحبا بكم. بون حسام نخليك تبدا، نخليك تورغانيزي وقتك كيما حبيت، الوقت اللي
اوكي
حبيت الوقت اللي حبيت دير لي كيستيون، حبيت نديرو لي كيستيون مع لو طول كومون طون، نستناو حتى الاخر اجي ويش.
مهم.
سي توا الشيف داكور.
اوكي تري بيان. دونك نورمال عندي شويه كيما نقول اكسبيريونس مع ديزاين هانج اوتس. دونك نورمال ما عنديش بروبليم، ميم اذا كون نمشي نحكي في البريزونطاسيون يقدروا يحبسوني pas de بروبليم. اوكي جوست باك باش نسيو باك نوصلوا الميساج بيان كوم يفو.
تري بيان يعطيك الصحه. بون اللي راهم معنا في الهانج اوت تري بيان يقدروا ميم يوتيليزيو المايك تاعهم. اللي ما راهم سور يوتيوب يقدروا يخلوا لي كيستيون دو بريفيرونس سور لا باج تاع ليفينمون تاع في الفيسبوك.
دو بريفيرونس.
D'accord, sinon في الجروب même في الجروب mais de préférence la page de l'événement. Thank you.
So can I start? Hello, shall I begin? Guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So hello and welcome to this to another edition of Digital Hangouts, where we are going to talk about progressive web applications. First of all, my name is Hussein Meheri. I'm a developer expert, specializing basically on native script, and also I am a Google Developers Group DOZ manager. And also you can reach me and you can talk with me even on Facebook or G+, or even via Twitter using my handle mentioned in the slides. So let's talk before we begin. It's always nice to have an introduction to have so we can know the meaning of progressive web applications. According to the official site from Google, progressive web applications take advantages from new technologies to bring the best of mobile sites and native applications to users. They are reliable, fast, and engaging. So what does that mean? So in today's web scene, we have many new technologies, and the W3C specs keep on going and growing, and things are getting like hotter and hotter, and if I might say, things are getting even more sexier because things are trying to evolve and take away many of the core functionalities from the mobile world. So we have background sync, we have background capabilities, we have push notifications, and so and so and so. And for us as web developers, things are, we consider such power something tedious. And why it is tedious? Because we simply need to give our users a better UX, so better user experience, instead of like normal UI with no functionalities that come with it. So in a normal web application, we have only the interface, we have only our profiles, we have only our mainly if we have if I can say roles or anything that goes with it. But with the new social media, we have like push notification and stuff that needs to be take care of, and which going to give our users more engaging experience. So whether it was from your Facebook notification to your latest Game of Thrones episode showing a date. So things are evolving, and we can just abandon such functionalities, but Facebook and Google and anyone who tried to implement push notification before or offline-based application before is going to find that are very hard to accomplish, and such technologies are not just given on the fly because simply they are manufacturer secrets. This is exactly what progressive web applications are trying to solve. So let's digest, first of all, before talking about anything, let's digest the current mobile application scene. So let's talk about features. Let's imagine we have the following application. We have our device and we have our application. So in a mobile application, we have the following. We have an application that's going to be or look great everywhere. So application that's going to look even in mobile, so a smartphone, or even in tablet. So things are going to be fluid and responsive everywhere. And stuff like working everywhere, offline in most situations, because mostly the new applications or new API or new application stores have what we call offline situation, where those applications can handle our data in an offline situation, like you are going in a metro station, or you're going over the train, or going or you are going to a place where simply there is no connectivity. And also we have push notifications. So like I said, make our user experience more engaging. And we have stuff like instantly loaded, because simply we are using the device functionalities and capabilities, and also simply fast and one tap away. So once we click, we got directly to our application. Those are the things that we don't normally have in a mobile application, in a website or web application in general. But why? Why the mobile phone are using such things or have such capabilities? So for me, I'm going just to push the question, because it's very, very fundamental for us. So for me, simply because they were created, conceived, and to be just great. Sincerely, crazy random, because those are the manufacturers from Google to Samsung to Apple made or build their phones just to be great and to be more engaging and have such capabilities. And such phones now have more clock rate than any of the old PCs. Like I said, for Pentium card of something like so, before like something like so, we have more clock rate now, and our applications are looking even greater with time. So in such situation, we're going to find ourselves in a versus. So application or our mobile application versus the web in general. Okay, so do you have everyone with me on the same page? So is it okay for the moment? Guys? Is it okay? So everything is okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, so great. Since we have no questions, let's just jump in. So before I start to talk about things that are going more technical, I want to give some statistics first. If you want directly to internet live stats, we're going to have over 1 billion websites in today's web scene. We have a huge number of websites. And also we have over 4 billion phones are sold. So we have 1 billion of websites, and we have 4 billion phone dispositives are going to be sold and already sold. So we have this kind of calculation, 1 billion over 4 billion. So making our website available in a mobile device is critical and is very, very fundamental, and going to a scene where mobile first is absolutely crucial. So let me talk more about modern web. So when we talk about modern web, we simply are going to talk about service. So service worker are a generic entry point for event-driven background processing in the web platform that is extensible by other specification, sincerely W3C. So what we have in front of us is just a plain introduction from W3C for the specification. Just knowing that service worker implementation are not done yet, because we are still going to do more and more integration into the service or into the APIs, because simply manufacturers, but we have like use something or browser like Chrome and go with the beta version using Canary, they're going to have the greatest and the thing that we simply don't have in other browsers. But Firefox are going in the same directions, especially if you are working with the developer edition. But Safari and Microsoft Edge are just far behind the race. But the good news is that Safari, both Safari and Microsoft Edge are going to embrace such technologies in the near future, inshallah. So okay, so enough blah blah. You just show me the code, please. So let's begin in the code. Like I said, service workers are based on events, and if you are a web developer, you are going to use JavaScript, and with JavaScript, we are simply going to listen to events. So you are not going to download jQuery just to listen to events. Don't be that stupid and just add to or use normal raw JavaScript like add event listener and just listen to events. Don't be that guy who downloads jQuery just to listen to events. It's simply tedious and stupid. Well, that's my personal point of view. So like I write here, like I said, so service workers are a bunch of events. So we have more events like install, and the install is going to launch first. So when your service worker is going to launch, the install events we're going to launch directly. Okay. So when our service worker is launched and when our install events is going to happen, we have just a simple console.log header. I'm going to show you the demo just in a minute, but just I want to explain some code first. So like in the PS, I said like if you don't listen to the event, it will do nothing. So if I listen to the event, I will simply add some functionalities, and if I didn't, nothing will happen. So nothing will going to happen if I didn't listen to events. It's simple as that. So a simple hint, install event is the first one. So think of something more creative, and that's what led to more and more events. We have the activate, we have the fetch, and we have the push. So the activate event is going to be simply our service worker who's working in an active state. So nothing happened. It's simply everything is working in the nicest way to value. The fetch event we're going to happen whenever our web browser is going to need any kind of resources. So if you want to do something like getting the root page, simply is going to fetch it. So it's simply considered something like XHR or Ajax call. And the push event simply for our push notification, and we are going to talk about that just in a minute. So that's what leads us to the following. When we are in an offline, so if you are offline, so we are not, maybe you are in the metro, you are in the gas stations, no internet connection, you are in the back exam, and simply 3G go outside of the country, something like so. So simply you are going to be offline. And if you are running a web application, let me say, and take the example, like always, an e-commerce, things are going to be painful because simply our application or we as the main firm are going to lose money. So no purchases, no nothing. We are in an offline state, and simply sadly, most web applications don't even run in an offline state. Let's talk about caching mechanism. So when we talk about progressive web application, we are talking about the following. We are talking about offline-based applications, we are talking about push notification, we are talking about app-like applications, and we are talking like instantly load application. I'm going to talk about all this just in a second. But first, let's start with caching. So whenever your user is offline, what the things that we as developer of the website need to do. So in caching mechanism, we have many caching mechanisms. We have the most used one, IndexedDB, where it's just a bunch of APIs that use the DB built-in on the browser. Let's simply talk about Chrome. So Chrome have it pre-built, so you don't need, and you need directly to use it. No extra things, just complete fine. Maybe you want to take things further and use Firebase. It's up to you. And also we have to talk about the cache or the cache API. And also we have something else that's called app manifest. So the app.manifest is completely something else, and also used to do offline situations. But the app.manifest files simply are a waste of time, waste of everything, because like the developer said of IO, it's a waste of time because we can't simply use or create any offline-based application using it. So use the cache with S. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Or use IndexedDB, but the IndexedDB in our situation have something terrible with it, and which is simply promises. So in the today web scene, we have the promises API pre-built with the V8 engine of Chrome or the Gecko of Firefox, and or Chakra in case of Edge, and WebKit in case of what we call Safari. And things are going to be very, very interesting now. So, and also we have more, but demo. So now let's talk about a simply completely honest demo. Okay. So I don't know if my Hassan, the code is showing. So
no.
No. Okay. So still in the okay. So in the code. Sure. So am I on now?
Yes.
Great. So okay. If we take a simple, the most simpler use case ever. So this example is hosted over the documentation of Google, and I just simply add the needed functionalities to it. So things are going to be very, very interesting in just a second. Here I have a simple web application. I have an index file.html. I have favicon. I also have scripts, so I have my main file, and also have images, have sounds, and also have styles. Okay, so this is a simple application, simple index.html, nothing fancy. I have my Google Analytics if you want to be fancy, and I have the code for the following code. Okay, so if you are a web developer and used to do something like using cross-browser functionalities, simply you are going to check if a certain functionality is available in the browser or not. It's the case. It was always the case. So if we have CSS3 on the browser, let me use it. If I have Flexbox, let me use it. If I have Service Worker, let me use it. So here what I'm doing is I'm checking if I have the Service Worker in our or in my data. So Chrome, Firefox, Safari, you name it. So any kind of a browser. So I'm checking if I have Service Worker bundled with my browser. If it is the case, I'm going to just say navigator.service worker, and this is like directly, and we can directly use it because simply we are talking about or talking with our browser. So I'm saying to the navigator or to the browser .service worker. So I'm using Service Worker APIs now. I'm telling to register my service worker.js file, which is located over here. Okay, so and then when you register, so we have promises now, and when I complete the registration of my service worker, I'm simply going to log hello there with simple information about my service worker. Okay, for the moment, forget about this line of code. We are going to talk about them shortly. Okay, so let us stop here. So whenever our service worker is registered, I'm going to print hello there. Okay, so I'm going to my service worker file, and there is a hint here. The service worker needs to be on the root file. So you don't want to put the service worker on a script folder. So it simply won't work because service worker needs to talk directly to the root page or the thing that I want them to talk with it. Because if I put my service worker file in the let me say in the script folder, it's going to search for all the things that I want inside the script folder. Okay, so if I put it in the root file, which is the case here, I'm going simply to talk directly to my root file. Within it, I have the index.html file. Okay, so like I said, once I register my service worker, I'm going to simply log hello there. Okay, so I think that I done that before. No, not this one. Okay, so let me see browsers. Okay, let me share this one. Okay, sure. Okay, so I have the following. So whenever I register my service worker, I'm simply going to print hello there. Okay, and simply going to print the service worker registration, and it is what represented in the self thing. So the self in my service worker is not this keyword, but it is simply the service worker registration object. Okay, so hello there. Okay, everything is set and my service worker is ready to be used. So now let's move to code. Again to code. So wait, now let's talk about entire screen. Entire screen is good. Oof. My bad. Okay. So now, in my service worker file, I have, like I said, the install event. So self.add event listener. So I'm listing the install event, and then simply log install. Okay. And then I'm going to do the following. I'm going to do, or when I ever listen to my events, I'm going simply to have an event object, simple JavaScript. And then this event object have this or have the following method or function that's called wait until. So don't do anything until I do this thing. Okay, so any code that's going to be hosted inside the wait until function is going to be returned. It's all considered like a promise. So whenever the code in this block got executed, everything will be all right. Okay, then I simply go out of my SL event. So what I'm saying here, I'm saying cache with S. Okay, so I have the cache and I have cache with S. So cache with S is simply the browser cache API. Okay, so cache.open pro app. So open here, so consider it like your relational database. I'm simply opening a connection to my DB. Let's consider it as a DB. And then I'm calling it pro app. Then whenever I open my connection, I'm going to have an object. So this object called cache. So cache going to represent my pro app caching database. And simply I'm going to return it and cache.add all. It is a built-in function that I want to tell it to add all the given files. So what I'm doing here, I'm returning the root. I'm returning the root folder. I'm returning the index.html. I'm saving saving. So because we are talking about the cache, we're just hiding our data inside the cache. So I'm hiding the index.html. I'm hiding also the index.html with a query string, also the query string itself. I'm hiding also the main.css file, the main.js file, and also I'm returning or hiding an MP3 file. So you can guess it, we can hide normal code. So normal files like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PDF, you name it, and also we can hide blob files, so MP3, MP4, you name it. Okay, so we are going to hide everything in here. Okay, then the installation of my application would be like the following. Let me share the screen. Okay. Let me just get back here. Okay, great. Okay, so let's go directly to application and have the following. So I'm having, by the way, I'm running on Canary. Okay, so I have the following, and my application is activated. And what the things is going to do now is going to go on every single kind of events. So I have the install, I have the wait, I have the activate. So when my activate function is running, things normally I'm going to have a pro app here. Okay, so in the cache, I already installed everything I'm going to need in the cache. So everything from the root file to the home screen to the index.html, and everything is in fact in the browser. Okay, so our application will be simply working now because I have in here my terminal of okay. I have my terminal here, and I have a simple terminal. Simple. Yep.
Okay, c'est bon.
Okay, I have a simple Python terminal here, nothing fancy, and I'm considering to be as my server, so my local server. And now, in order to explain how things are going to be in an offline state, I'm simply going to cancel my login. So I don't have any kind of service. Okay. Now let's go back to my application and just refresh it. Okay. Now let's go back to this, my application, and simply refresh. Okay. Okay. So things start to be quite interesting here. My application is running offline with the file and everything. Let me open another. So, okay. So now my application is running offline. Everything is hosted on the cache, and my application works normally in an offline state. So I don't have any kind of servers, any kind of anything. So my service worker is taking care of everything, and everything is hosted on my application. Okay? But if we do the following, let me say we're going to actualisation forcée ou bien hard cache, things are going to be interesting because I simply run or take off everything from my cache, from everything. So now my application, there is nothing on my browser. So like I said, it's just like I stopped my service worker and I deleted all the cache that exists, so my application doesn't work. Okay? So now, after finishing the offline-based thing, let's go back to the slides. Let's go back to the slides so I can explain something else. Okay. No. Like I said, okay, so this is the activate, so we can do anything on the activate. So on the activate events, I'm doing the following. I'm just opening the cache and returning everything. So for us here, we are trying to like implement the offline-based functionalities. And we can do this thing on anything from the install to the wait and also to the activate. Okay, and like I said, the activate function is going to the activate event going to represent my service worker on an active state. So my activate state is going to be like almost the end state where service worker just do nothing but working. Now there is nothing to be installed, there is nothing to be waiting on, or simply a state of completely working. Okay. Okay, so let's move to another thing. Before moving to push notification, is it okay? So is there any kind of questions that happen to be considered or related to offline-based functionalities? Guys, is there any question? Hassan, is there any questions?
Pour le moment, non. Il n'y a rien.
Okay, so things are okay for the moment. Things are not just oblivious.
I would say okay, it's okay.
Okay,
Yep.
great. So, okay. Now, let's move to more interesting part, which is the push notification. So now, let's talk about how we can have our push notification on the browser and on the mobile phone. So, you are going to build a push notification to any kind of application, let's say another Android application, iOS application, or Windows Phone application. You are simply going to work simply with a provider. So the provider, for our case, because I'm having a Chrome desktop and also I have an Android phone, so I'm simply going to work with Google Cloud Platform. More precisely, I'm going to work with the GCN. So head directly to the console, cloud.google.com, and create your application, and then enable GCN in your application. Then you are going to have the following. You're going to have a project number. So the project number is going to be needed. So keep it for other use. And also, when you go to your application in Google Cloud Services, you're going to have a key. So the app secret key. Okay. Then you need to keep those two files or two numbers safe in some place because we are going to need them. Now, let's talk about something more interesting here. I have a JSON file. This JSON file, we're going just to host the following: a name, so application name, and another kind of fields named as GSM sender ID. Okay, well, this is where we are going to put or copy or simply paste our project ID found here. Okay, so take simply the project number and put it in a JSON file. Then add the code about the JSON file or to manifest the JSON file. I'm going to talk about the JSON.manifest file in a second. Just bear with me because everything here is related to everything. So hence, our application now is fully configured to host our notification. Now, I have the following code. Back in my index.html file, I had to register simply my service worker, then I print hello there, then I have the following. So I have my service worker object, which happen to have a push manager. The push manager is simply an object going to handle my push notification. Then I said subscribe. So when we are talking about subscribe or push notification in general, we have what we call the pub and sub. So publish and subscribe. And the publisher simply going to be our server. So if you have a Node.js server, a Python server, a Java server, hosted in the cloud or any other place, going to be our publisher. And us as clients or as users, we are simply going to subscribe to such channel. Okay, so subscribe to the channel will give us our notification. Nothing fancy. Then whenever I subscribe and do everything in a normal way, I'm just going to log my endpoint. Okay, so let's take things a bit back. I have here this object that or this field that name user visible only true. So this field here is quite needed or quite essential for the moment, or because, like I said, service workers are in constant changes, and maybe such things are going to be present in the future. But for the moment, in order to have our users permission, we need to set this to true. Okay, and the endpoint here generated from the sub here after my after I successfully grant my application to use notification, I'm going to have an endpoint. An endpoint simply is a code. This code is going to be normally pushed to my service to my server, and this endpoint needs to be secure because it's related to my represent my let me said represent my device and my desktop and everything in beyond. So don't let this kind of code be like public or be in not secure places. Okay. Then hence this will do something in our browser. Okay. Let me say, or let me show you how. Now let's move to our. Okay, so let me first launch my server. Okay, and go to my application here. Share the screen. Okay, so let me just. Okay, so the code that I explained before, let me have this thing. So autorisé ou bien bloqué. So in such scenario, when I subscribe or to the push manager, simply going to give me the following model or the following prompt. Tell me if I want to host my or to authorize or give grants to my application to use push notification. For our case, I will say it. Okay, absolutely. Then normally I'm going to have a code here. It's not the case, but now we have the endpoint. Like I said, keep this code safe, and I'm going to just simply delete my application otherwise, so you don't do anything to my PC. So it's simply as that. And then I'm going just to click so I can send notification. Simply click to this code link, going to give us this kind of links. Then all I need is the following from the send.slash till the end. Okay, I'm just simply going to copy it and do the following. In our testing, I don't need anything fancy, so I will simply going to work with a simple command or simple curl command to launch my service worker or my notification in general. To do. Okay, sure. Okay, so I have the following. I have, or I made the following. I made a curl. Simply curl is present in curl or wget are present on Mac or Linux, but we can also have it on Windows and configure it using our path. Nothing fancy. Then I'm going to have a header, my authorization. This is going to be my application app secret. Then header. So I'm telling what type of application or the content type for my application. So application.json, application.xml, whatever. Okay. Then I give the link. So gcn.send registration IDs. So the endpoint was my registration ID the registration ID of my simply my my client or my user. Okay, and simply going to copy and paste here, and I'm going to take the file, this thing, and simply launch it in my terminal, like the following. Okay. Okay, now let me share it. Okay, simply hit enter. Wait for it to do my call. Normally going to launch now. Okay. Okay. Now I have the thing or the confirmation that's going to tell me success. So I successfully sent notification. Okay, and have result and everything. But if you are using it to your own application, this normally going to be our server. So the server going to listen or take everything from my user and take the registration ID, keep it in somewhere safe, and simply whenever I need to send notification, going to send notification to this user. In our case, me. Now, let me share my screen in here. Okay. Normally this is going to work. Okay. So what I'm having here. Okay, so this is the Chrome. Okay. Let me share the browser. Okay. Back to the browser. Okay, just a minute. Okay, no. Can get the terminal. Okay, wait. Relaunch. Okay, and normally it gets started send to get notification. Just a minute. Okay, so a send file. Okay, and it's supposed to be working. Normally things supposed to work here. Wait a second. So normally things go to work, but I don't know what is happening with my Chrome here. I'm going to launch again. Wait for it. No. Apparently it's not the case. I don't know why. But let's test from another thing. Let me set my device because I won't can't just show it to you here directly because it's going to be inside down. So let me use another thing. Let me say my application, mobile application. Okay. Now let's go to the inspector and just do the normal thing. Okay. Select done code. Okay. Okay, so now I got my push messages over here. And I said, slide down. Okay, let's remove it and recall it again. Okay, so now I have my push messages that I sent from my terminal. Okay, nothing fancy. I can send this again and again and again. So this is directly the browser. If we can see here, this is the browser from Chrome. And I can have it as a normal notification. So even if I close my phone and reopen it, I'm going to find it on the home screen. So as a push messages, and I can simply custom everything. Okay, guys. Share. Okay. So it's okay. Great. So this was my application or my push notification going directly into my browser and simply built in with the system. So any push notification going to send to the browser is simply going to be hosted or treated as any kind of push notification in the Android or iOS or even Microsoft when things get done. Okay. Now let's move to another kind of scenarios. Okay. Okay. Now let's move here. Okay. So, like I said, or like I mentioned, Service Worker have many events. So I have the install whenever my application got launched. Then I'm going to the wait state if my application got like something like refreshed or something like it. Another Service Worker will going to launch, but go to the wait state. And if everything is working in the right manner, I will simply go to the activate event and just it's going to be just a set that everything is going well. Then going to the fetch, and then if I need any kind of application or resources, or the push in case of push notification. So this is the Service Worker execution pipeline. Now let's talk about tuning. Tuning is something that is very essential in today's on developers' life. So I have the following. I have what we call the SW Toolbox. So Service Worker Toolbox is a library developed by Google, Google Chrome team, and it just or its role is to abstract everything that we saw. So everything from the cache, from handling cache, from handling everything that we need in our application in a user-friendly API. No hassle with listening to events or doing anything like it. Or simply use Chrome for the moment because, like I said, Firefox and Safari and Microsoft Edge are not implementing or embracing the thing just yet. Okay. Now let's move to another thing. Let's talk about the web manifest. So, like I said, progressive web application, let us use or let us handle or let us treat our application as an app-like application. So my application would be hosted on the, like we said, an Android home screen, like any kind of application or any kind of API application or any kind of application that we found in the store. Okay, so we have the thing that we call manifest file, manifest.json file. So the web manifest is a JSON file that lets our application a mobile like one in terms of the home screen presence. So give us that functionalities, the splash screen. So we're also going to have a splash screen presence for our web application, and also short naming and application starting point. So let me say how is that. Let's consider the following example. So I have my application hosted or this kind of JSON things. I have the name of my application, and have the short name. So short name, this is going to be this thing, or the short name, whatever we write in the short name, going to be reflected on our splash screen or our application splash screen. So I write blah 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 here, and the blah 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 here is going to be reflected. And also I have the background color. So the background color is not simply just my slide color, but this actual color. So this color will be reflected on the background, which is the case here. And also have orientation, so which is portrait or like landscape. And for my use, I have it as a portrait side, and scopes and starting URL. So the starting URL, I'm going to tell my application or my app-like application hosted on my home screen where to start. So if I want to start from the root, I'm going to say slash. I want to start from the profile of my user, or say like slash profile or anything like it. And also icons. So the icons here will be simply this one. So this icon and the icon that are going to be present on my home screen. Okay. Now let's move to a quick demo. See how things done. Okay, so I want to put a little more. I'm going to here and here. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Now, like I said, I have a manifest.json file hosted on my root folder here. I have the name named Air Horner. I have the GCN sender ID, the one that I added before. I have the short name. I have my icons, and have the starting URL, the display, and the background color. Okay, so this is hosted on my root directly. Now let's move to my application, or directly to my phone. So now, whenever I go to the settings, I'm going to find this thing that's called add to home screen. So let me tell you how the scenario works. If Google Chrome finds that you are frequently checking the website, so if I frequently check like Facebook or Twitter or Google or anything that implement the manifest or implement or put the implementation of the manifest file, we're simply going to prompt me, are you going to, or are you willing, or do you want to add this application to your home screen? But in my, or I can simply do the following, go to menu and just add to home screen. So add to home screen, going to give me the following. First of all, going to give me the icon that I specified in the manifest file, and also give me the naming or the short naming. So I said simply add because I want to add it, but you can also give some indication that my web application implement such thing, and you can host my application or your favorite Shiny application on your mobile device. So I will say add, okay, and go to home screen, and I'm simply going to find it over here. So App Horner. When I click, I'm going to give me some splash screen with icon, short naming, then my application. But the thing that we see here, we don't have anything from or any kind of app or URLs, or where we can prompt or add any other URLs in our application. Simply, we are hosting a normal application, or an application that's supposed to be an APK file. So this is not an APK file. This is simply some Chrome magic to add some items to our application. Okay, so this is the home, and I want to go to my Chrome again. I will simply use the application here. Okay, so this was the demo of how things works. Now let me move to the slide again and talk about tuning. So now, when we talk about tuning, we simply use generators. We don't use any other thing. Simply, we use generators. For such thing, we have what we have an already created application hosted on Firebase. So it's the app manifest.firebase.app. So now let's head to it. and simply Hangouts here and simply go to it. Okay, now I have the manifest generator. So I add the naming, short name, theme color, background theme color, or background color that we want on our background, display mode, any kind of display mode you seek, orientations, portrait or landscape, application scope, and application starting point. Then I'm simply going to have this, so a normal JSON file. And if I want to add any kind of icons, I will simply add it and going to like reflect and minimize everything to its need. So from 70 multiplied by 70 pixel to 520 pixel. Okay, and simply add generate, and it's going to let us download this thing, and within it we have everything we see. Now let's move to the slides again. Okay, the slides. No. So this will how we can directly generate the manifest file, so we don't have to use it or create it for our own. Simply go to the app manifest firebase.firebaseapp.com and simply generate it and put it on your application. Now let's head to some Q&A. Okay, so Hassan, do you have any questions, or do the audience have any kind of questions? Because I'm going to wrap up in just a few seconds. So do you have any questions? Hassan? Can you hear me?
No question here.
Guys, the present one, do you have any kind of questions, something we didn't understand, or anything like it? I know things look a bit strange, and it's simply the power of Service Worker and the power of new web technologies. So things are going to be mobile first all the way down. So we are trying to minimize the gap between web applications and mobile application in terms of user interface, in terms of user experience, and for us the experience means a lot, and we are trying to give our users or our clients the experience that they want to seek, an experience that is intuitive, simple, nothing fancy, nothing hard, simply integrated solutions that keep our users more engaged from offline to notification and everything and beyond. So this is exactly what I've tried to explain here. Things are in their starting point, and there is that much of application that use it. You can go, if you want to, some example to google.com/io, because the IO site was created as progressive application. So you're going to have everything that we talked about in the session, everything from offline based to push notification, and also to the home screen presence. And this is exactly what or the movement of web application are heading, because instead of giving my client, if you are building or you are a firm or but development that want to give your users a new kind of experience besides building just a website, you can tell them that we can give you a mobile experience, and things or your experience with the application will be much joyful. I think if there is no questions, I'm going to simply wrap up. Thank you very much for listening. Be back to you. maybe
Hussam خرج apparemment problème de connexion. Ok, alors, bon, Hussam, rachte la connexion, gars. Alors, on s'arrête ici. Inch'Allah, c'était bien passé. يعطيكم الصحة. À la prochaine fois, Inch'Allah. Je sais pas ce qu'on نقدروا نديروا des hangouts pendant Ramadan. Sinon, peut-être نتلاقاو directement après Ramadan. Si vous avez des remarques sur les hangouts ou là sur, je sais pas, n'importe quelle suggestion, allez-y. Ok. Allez, see you. Bye bye.